When a woman goes silent, most men assume it's anger, withdrawal, or indifference. But what if her silence is not emptiness? What if it's strategy? Imagine this. You're in the middle of an argument, your words echo, and suddenly she stops responding. The air gets heavy. You think you've won, but in reality, she just took control. Because silence, when used by a woman, isn't the absence of emotion, it's emotional redirection. It's the art of turning noise into power. Now, what happens inside her mind in that very moment? What transforms silence into strength? That is what we about to uncover. And it might just change the way you interpret every quiet moment from now on. In psychology, silence is a defensive mechanism, a boundary, and sometimes a mirror. Women often use silence not to hide, but to observe. While men tend to respond to conflict with action or logic, women retreat into reflection. But it's not passivity, it's data collection. She's reading tone, body language, emotional consistency. Her silence isn't void, it's an emotional scan of your intentions. And in that stillness, she gathers everything she needs to understand who you really are. Now, ask yourself, when she stops talking, is she avoiding you or is she studying you? Because in that pause lies the answer to whether the relationship is still alive or already fading. Then comes the reset. Silence isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's protection. It's her way of regulating emotions before they spill out in ways she'll regret. Neuroscience shows that women process emotional pain more deeply but recover faster when given space. So when she goes silent, she's not retreating, she's resetting. But here's the twist. The longer she stays silent, the more emotionally detached she becomes. That moment of calm can evolve into indifference. And once she feels nothing, you've already lost her. Silence, then, is the bridge between caring too much and not caring at all. Now comes the power shift. Silence changes the emotional gravity in any interaction. While men fear the unknown, women often weaponize it. Her silence triggers your anxiety, your need for validation. Suddenly, you're chasing clarity, desperate for her reaction. And that's when the balance of power shifts. Philosophers like Nietzsche believed that true strength lies in restraint, not reaction. In this way, her silence becomes her control. She doesn't need to yell to be heard. She only needs to withhold her words until you start questioning your own. But silence doesn't just protect, it communicates. It says, I'm disappointed. It says, you crossed a line. It even says, I've stopped fighting for this. In psychology, this is called nonverbal assertion, the act of expressing power through absence. You see, words can lie, but silence rarely does. When she stops explaining, it's because she no longer feels understood. When she stops arguing, it's because the conversation already ended in her mind. And when she stops responding, it's not confusion, it's clarity. Then, something deeper happens. Her silence becomes a mirror. Whatever emotion you project, anger, guilt, fear, reflects right back at you. That's why it feels unbearable. You're not hearing her voice anymore. You're hearing your own echoes. This is the essence of emotional manipulation. Not malicious, but instinctive. It's a subconscious way of forcing you to confront your behavior without a single accusation. She doesn't punish you. She lets you punish yourself through the discomfort of your own mind. Now, here's where most men fail to see the shift. When she goes silent and you don't chase, she interprets that as emotional distance. When she goes silent and you react aggressively, she confirms her fears. But when you approach her silence with patience and empathy, you disrupt the pattern. You show emotional maturity, the one thing she subconsciously tests for. So now, the question isn't, why is she silent? But, what is her silence teaching me about my own reactions? Silence, in philosophy, is not emptiness, but presence. Lao Tzu wrote, "Silence is a source of great strength." In relationships, that silence is where understanding either grows or dies. Every quiet moment is an invitation, not to fill it, but to feel it. When a woman withdraws into silence, she's not vanishing. She's creating a space where truth can emerge. The tragedy is, most people rush to fill that space with noise, and in doing so, they miss the message entirely. Then comes the consequence. Misinterpreting her silence can destroy what could have been saved. If you assume it's rejection, you react with ego. If you treat it as indifference, you withdraw emotionally. But if you recognize it as communication, you meet her where words fail. Silence only becomes dangerous when ignored, because once she learns peace without your presence, your words will never reach her again. Now you see, her silence was never weakness. It was wisdom. It was the final language she had left when words lost their power. In that quiet space, she discovered something greater than argument, self-control. So the next time a woman goes silent, don't panic, don't chase, listen, because in that silence lies the truth about who she is and who you are when she stops talking. And maybe, just maybe, the loudest thing she ever said was nothing at all.